Ever feel like your brain's trying to run the whole show without asking you first? That's the kind of thing that sneaks up on you when you're not paying attention. 1 minute you're chilling, thinking you've got life under control, and the next your mind starts throwing random thoughts at you like it's dumping junk at a garage sale. And you're just standing there thinking, bro, what is all this? Here's the crazy part. Most of the time, you don't even realize your thoughts are steering the wheel until you crash into some nonsense you never meant to hit. That's exactly why this conversation matters. Because if you don't clamp down on mental chaos early, it starts freelancing with your entire life. Most people think thoughts just float in and disappear. Nah. Thoughts have energy, attitude, and momentum. They can hype you up, or they can drag you straight into a pit you never signed up for. And if you don't catch them while they're small, they snowball fast. One tiny negative idea turns into a full-blown soap opera in your head. Before you know it, you're spiraling over something that wasn't even real to begin with. That's not just annoying, that's destructive. You ever wake up and your brain starts talking trash before you even stretch? You're behind, you're slipping, you're not built for this. And you're like, hold up, who invited you to speak today? But the thing is, your mind doesn't wait for permission. It just pops off. It's like that friend who walks into your house, raids the fridge, and acts like they pay rent. Once you understand that your brain works like that, you stop letting thoughts run wild. You start treating them like uninvited guests. You check them at the door before they walk all over your piece. And most destructive thoughts don't even show up loud. They slide in quietly, casual, sneaky. They whisper, maybe tomorrow, maybe later. You're tired. And the second you fall for it, your whole day starts sliding downhill like a busted shopping cart. That's how the mind plays you, not with dramatic punches, but with quiet excuses that sound harmless. That's why you've got to catch them early. You've got to be on guard like a bouncer shutting nonsense down before it gets inside. And here's the truth. You're not powerless. Your mind might be loud, but you can be louder. You just have to train that inner voice to stop acting like a broken GPS rerouting you into traffic. When a thought hits you with, you can't, you clap back with, watch me. When your brain tries to drag you to old habits, you flip the script. Don't let that thought finish its sentence. Interrupt it like someone telling a boring story at a party. Because once you interrupt a thought pattern, you break its flow. And once you break its flow, you take its power. Everybody wants focus, but nobody wants to do the boring reps. Focus isn't some mystical monk superpower. It's discipline on demand. It's you telling your brain where to look instead of letting it wander like a toddler in a mall. If you don't lock your attention onto something meaningful, your mind will entertain itself with junk. It'll replay old failures like highlight reels. It'll create fake scenarios that stress you out over problems that don't even exist. It'll drag you into mental rabbit holes that drain your entire day. Then you wonder why you're exhausted. It's because you let every random thought eat your energy like free samples. And notice this, your mind gets loudest right when you're leveling up. You're about to make a move, and suddenly your brain sounds like your biggest hater. This is risky. What if you mess it up? Play it safe, but safe never built anything legendary. Safe never made anyone proud. Safe is the trap your brain uses to keep you comfortable and miserable. Call it out, recognize it. Fear disguised as logic is still fear. That's why catching your thoughts early matters. It's like stopping a fire while it's still a spark instead of waiting until the whole kitchen is in flames. A destructive thought only becomes dangerous when you give it air. But if you grab it fast, flip it, and redirect it into something that actually moves your life forward, you win every time. And that redirection isn't complicated. It's simply choosing where your attention goes. Your mind says you're not good enough. You say, cool story, but watch me make progress anyway. Your mind says, this is too much. You say, nah, this is exactly the level I'm built for. Your mind says, quit. You say, run that back. I don't quit on my future. The moment you start talking back like that, something wild happens. Your mind starts listening. It starts shifting. It starts obeying. It stops dragging you and starts following you. That's the switch. That's the moment you stop being a passenger in your own head and start gripping the steering wheel like you mean it. Because once you take control of your inner world, everything outside begins falling in line. Confidence hits different. Discipline hits different. Purpose hits different. You stop reacting and start directing. You stop drifting and start deciding. Life feels less like chaos and more like choreography. When you finally start checking those wild thoughts before they run loose, you notice something crazy. Your mind gets slicker. It starts throwing new tricks at you, hoping you'll slip back into autopilot. It hits you with that, just chill for a minute, vibe, and suddenly that minute turns into an hour, then a whole wasted day. That's how sneaky the mind is. It knows your weaknesses like it's been taking notes your whole life. So when you step up and say, nah, I'm running this show now, your brain gets shook. It starts tossing distractions like confetti, hoping you'll chase them. And that's where the real battle starts, the moment you stop falling for the same old mental traps. Most people never get past this stage because they think feeling uncomfortable means something's wrong. Nah, feeling uncomfortable means something's changing. Your brain hates change. It loves routines, even toxic ones. If you've been running on stress, procrastination, or fear for years, your mind treats that like home. So when you try to level up, it's like you're moving out and your mind is holding the door saying, wait, you sure about this? But once you push through that early resistance, you realize the discomfort isn't a warning. It's proof you're breaking old codes. And here's where the game gets real interesting. When you catch yourself mid-thought and change direction, you're literally rewiring your brain. You're teaching it that you're not going to roll with every random idea it throws at you. You're building mental muscle. You're showing your mind that discipline isn't a punishment, it's a strategy. And once your mind learns it can't bully you anymore with negativity, hesitation, or old emotional baggage, it starts falling in line slowly at first, then faster. Eventually, it becomes your ally instead of your enemy. But don't get it twisted. Destructive thoughts don't disappear. They get quieter, but they still test you. They show up late at night when you're tired. They hit when you're stressed. They creep in when you're leveling up and doubting if you're ready for the next step. They sneak in when you start comparing your progress to someone else's timeline. That's why you've got to stay on guard like a goalie protecting the net. The second you let one thought slide in, it invites the whole squad, and before you know it, you're right back in the same mental loop you worked so hard to escape. When your mind starts throwing a pity party and playing sad violin for no reason. That's exactly why redirection is the superpower nobody talks about, not suppression, not ignoring redirection. It's like catching a runaway dog before it sprints into the street and guiding it back where it belongs. When a thought pops up like, you're falling behind, you don't argue with it. You shift. You point your energy towards something productive, a task, an action, a goal, a micro win. You flip the vibe instantly. That's how you teach your mind to stop spiraling and start stabilizing. And here's something nobody really admits: most destructive thoughts aren't even yours. They're echoes. Stuff people said to you years ago. Things you heard growing up. Noise you picked up from social media. Words someone threw at you on a bad day that stuck because you didn't know how to filter them out. Your brain saved that garbage like it was important, and now it replays it like a broken mixtape. But once you start identifying which thoughts are actually yours and which ones are leftover noise, everything changes. You start deleting the trash mentally the same way you clear phone storage, no hesitation. Now let's talk about focus. Not the fake motivation quote kind, but the real, gritty, don't mess with me kind. Focus is basically putting your mind on a leash, and not a loose one, a tight one. You tell your brain, this is what we're doing, and you repeat it until it finally gets the memo. Because when you train your focus, you're not just controlling your thoughts. You're controlling your decisions, your reactions, your energy, your direction. That's when you start moving with intention instead of drifting like a plastic bag in the wind. But focus isn't easy in a world where everything is screaming for your attention. Your phone dings, your past calls. Your doubts whisper. Your old habits knock. Your excuses tap you on the shoulder. And your brain, being the clown it can be, wants to chase every distraction like it's a shiny toy. That's why discipline matters. Discipline is you telling your mind, sit down. We're handling business. And when your mind sees you sticking to something, even when you're tired, bored, annoyed, stressed, or tempted, it learns you're serious. That's when you feel the click. Not a big dramatic moment, just a shift. You wake up and your mind isn't arguing with you as much. You start tasks without negotiating. You finish things without dragging your feet. You feel calmer, clearer, sharper. You stop overthinking stuff that doesn't matter. You stop giving energy to drama that isn't your problem. You stop falling into mental traps that used to catch you easily. You move like someone who knows exactly where they're going. And here's the secret sauce. Once you master catching destructive thoughts early and redirecting them, you create momentum, not hype momentum. Momentum is when your actions stack, when your days build on each other, when small wins turn into big shifts, when you stop fighting your mind and start using it, when your thoughts stop dragging you backward and start pushing you forward. That's when life feels different. That's when opportunities start showing up. That's when confidence unlocks in places you didn't know existed. That's when you stop surviving and start creating. So let me leave you with this. Your mind isn't stronger than you. It's just louder. And loud doesn't mean powerful. Loud just means loud. Once you stop letting noisy thoughts boss you around, everything changes. You become the one calling the shots. You become the one choosing your direction. You become the one deciding your story instead of letting old patterns write it for you. And that's the moment your life goes from random to intentional.